There will. I'm going to adjust this thing. Why? There we go. This is better. There one. Why is this? Oh, I'm tripping. Give me just a second, guys. It's too much. Man, I looked like I was going live from the abyss a minute ago. There one. I'm gonna wait till everybody comes in. I'll go ahead and let the patrons know that I am live. Yo, Snapple and Cats, and there one. There one there. Hey man, share this link. Let's get the party back. Let everybody know we're here. There one. All right. Let's see here. Video. There were everybody. Almost forgot the scheduled change. Yeah, right now I'm trying to adjust. I want to thank everybody who's being patient. I'm trying to make an adjustment because of the Gedu class schedule and it's clashing right now. But I think there's an opening for me to be able to go live at the time that I was going live before. So that's really what I'm aiming for right now. Okay, let me go ahead and post that we are live so we can get everybody in here. This one's going to be kind of quick. I'm going to try to keep it under an hour. Give me just a second. But this particular one, I am going to be talking about, hope this is muted. Give me just a second. I'm going to be talking about seasonal depression. There is an ilu that our ancestors share about it, and it kind of explains what it is and how to react to it. This is off center. Just a second. This thing is off center. Okay, it's a little bit better. So the ilu explains what seasonal depression is and what our ancestors say about it and how to operate within it, right? Igade, Igbo gade nwanne, igade nwanne, nke ọbụla itiri aka ọ ga-adị n'ụwa, ọ ga-adị n'eke n'orie n'afọ na nkwọ ise. Let's see if we can get 10 people in. I'll go ahead and start. When's the next chance to sign up for Igbo 1? Oh, so yeah. We've started enrollment for I don't want to say the wrong month, March. So the next class is going to be starting in March, but we're enrolling right now. The people who are already in Kedu have already started enrolling for their next session. So hurry up and get in there so that you can get your seat. But if you're trying to enroll for Igbo 1, go to www.kedu.me. Go ahead and select Igbo 1 and you're good to go, right? Select Igbo 1 and you're good to go. And thank you for that. I appreciate you for considering Kedu. Let me go ahead and put this on Patreon. And then once we get to 10 people, we're good to go. SC, yeah, looking forward to seeing you there. I'm having a blast with the current class. Having a lot of fun with the current class, the Igbo 1 class, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys this next coming session, some new faces. Give me just a second here. Once we get to 10 people, I'm going to go ahead and begin. Though, right now we have 8 people in here, and only 5 of them have hit like. So the 3 of you that are holding on to your like, Biko, I'm not your enemy. Go ahead and hit like. We are at 10 people. We're going to go ahead and begin. Ndewo to everybody. Ndewo. All right, today I'm going to be explaining, sharing an ilu that explains seasonal depression and how to operate within it, right? It is the winter and everybody, unless you're just a very special person, is going through some sort of slowdown or internal change. And based on the way we live our lives in the modern day, this can come into conflict with what we desire, what we want for ourselves, and then it can register as depression and become depression or become hard feelings. So I might sign up, but I got to learn Yoruba too. I swear I'm gonna get them mixed up. Honestly, this is just my thing. I feel that if you know Igbo, it'll help your Yoruba. If you know Yoruba, it'll help your Igbo. I don't think it's a mix-up thing. It's almost like a lot of times with Spanish, and like, let's say you know Spanish and you try to learn French, and a lot of the words are very similar. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense, that kind of thing. But, you know, if it's a one at a time thing for you, don't let me stop you. It's better to learn one well than two poorly. So this ilu is advice on not just where to find answers, but how to react to changes in the seasons. as far as how it makes you feel on a level of emotion, spirit, and mind. Okay? So as always, I'm going to begin by breaking Oji. Ụmụ ibe m, Oji abịala, okike kere ụwa, okike na-enye ihe ọma, okike na-enye ndụ. Pụtara m Oji, alawa ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ, ala na-enye ndụ, ala na-enye ihe ọma, ala bụ nne anyị niile. Oji abịala. Ọjị m ji n'aka bụ ọjị ndị iche anyị, ọjị ndị iche m, mana aka m ji nke bụ aka ndị iche m, aka emenaha. Eji m ọjị na-ekele gị, aka ejike. Eji m ọjị na-ekele gị, aka ukwebu. Eji m ọjị na-ekele gị, aka ọfọdụrụ nwa. Eji m ọjị na-ekele gị, aka weze. Eji m ọjị na-ekele gị. Eji m ọjị na-ekelekwe ndị iche unu niile, mana anyị niile bụ otu ọbara, otu ọkpụkpụ, otu uche, otu obi, otu ndụ. Eji m ya na-ekele ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ, mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ na-enye anyị ndụ, mmụọ uzi na ije okike kere ka anyị gaa n'ụwa a. Eji m ya na-ekele ndị mmiri, ji m ya na-ekele ndị ikuku, ji m ya na-ekele ndị ugwu, ji m ya na-ekele ndị igwe, jikwe ya na-ekelekwe anyị bụ ndị ala, ụmụ ala, alawa ala. Ọ ga-adị nnọọ n'eke na orie na afọ na nkwọ ise. We sprinkle it. There we go. Now we're good to go. Now we are good to go. All right, so for those who do not understand, I'm just going to briefly explain what I said, and I'm going to go ahead into the ilu that explains how to deal with seasonal depression, right? Or what an insight our ancestors had on seasonal depression, what it is, and how to operate within it, right? So when you are breaking Oji, you are giving acknowledgments to everything that is relevant to the situation, everything that is relevant to life, right? You're acknowledging everything present. If you are in an Igbo meeting, when they break Oji, they may even call your name as you're going to be greeting the people in the room. I greeted the Creator, I greeted the Earth, I greeted our collective ancestors under the names Eke, Orie, Afo, Nkwo. I greeted my own specific ancestors. Now, the reason I greeted my own specific ancestors is because I said the hand that I am using to present this Oji is the hands of my ancestors, the hands of Naejike, Naemenaha, Naokwebu, Nakaweze, Naofadarangwa, all of them. So when I'm holding this thing, I'm representing all of my ancestors. And I say that to say that I'm hoping that anybody who's watching this particular live understands that this your hand that you have here is the hand of all of your ancestors. And what you do with it, they follow you and do, right? So regard it as something sacred. Regard your hands as something sacred because they are, right? Even outside of Hodinani, I think the closest thing we get to this understanding is like a gravesite. You wouldn't desecrate the gravesite of an ancestor, right? Therefore, don't desecrate your hands by involving them in things that are less than deserving, right? Do not desecrate your hands by using them to do something that is less than deserving. Do not desecrate your hands by using them to harm others or harm yourself, right? Because this thing is sacred. Aka, the word aka in Igbo means hand, and it also means spirit, right? Aka, hand, spirit. I got a video coming. It is the second part of my highlight video. Then after that, we're going to do a really, you guys are going to love this video. It's on the palm reading, right? And you're going to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. But I said that particular thing, then I listed all my ancestors. So when you see this thing here, all my ancestors are with me. That's how you know they're with you, that kind of thing, right? That being said, I gave acknowledgments to the forces of nature, right? The Abara. I gave acknowledgments to water, earth, air, wind. I gave acknowledgments to the mountains, gave acknowledgments to the trees. I gave acknowledgments to the pathways of the world, right? The pathways that are carved throughout the world that we walk through. That sometimes we think we're the ones who decide to go this way and that way, but these things are already pre-carved and predetermined, and we're just like marbles rolling across them, right? So I gave acknowledgments to those pathways, also related to this here. But again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'll explain why I did that in a more formal video, not a live, right? All right, and so after acknowledging everything that is present and relevant, I then said he say, and then everybody received what I was saying. I said peace, family. Maybe yeah, I've covered this, but what do great ancestors say about dreams? Oh, whoa. I've not done. Funny enough, I haven't done a video on dreams, but dreams are extremely important in Odinani Ndibo. Dreams are extremely important. The ancestors say a lot about dreams. The ancestors say a lot within dreams, right? So I will be doing a video on dreams. If you're not a patron, the best way to get like a topic you're interested in to be a video is to, forgive me, is to comment under one of the videos. Because when I put the videos, the topics up for vote on the Patreon, I go to the comments and I say, okay, what are people asking me to make videos about? And then we list them all, and the patrons have the final vote, right? So if you're not a patron, the best way to get the vote in is to go ahead and just say, hey, you should do a video on this, and that's good enough. There are certain people who know this and they kind of monopolize the topics. Shout out to them too for being smart, but they monopolize the topics. There's certain people who understand how it works and they kind of, they know how to get their topics in, that kind of thing. So I'm giving you guys the medicine shell cheat codes. Go ahead and comment in the videos. That's how you get your topics videos made. I haven't been able to make a formal video in a while. Just because a lot that's been going on, right? A lot's been going on, but I think I'm seeing some clarity right now, and that clarity is going to allow me to get back to my regular video making schedule. So the topic is, there's this particular ilu, right? There's this, and I'm still learning it, so I'm going to be reading it. There's this particular ilu that taught me something very interesting about seasonal depression and our relationship with nature in general, right? The ilu is agam niru ukwu osisi maka ọdịmma. Let me say it again. Agam niru ukwu osisi mana ọdị nnụnụ mma. Agam niru ukwu osisi mana ọdị nnụnụ mma. I go to the foot of the tree. Right? I go to the foot of the tree because it's good for the birds. I go to the foot of the tree because it is good for the birds. Does anybody have an interpretation of this ilu who's not on the Patreon? I mean, even if you're on Patreon, go ahead. We already had this discussion on Patreon. I made a very extensive post with, a whole bunch of breakdowns as to what it can mean. So if you're a patron, you're kind of already ahead of the game. But otherwise, I kind of want to hear what you guys' interpretations of the ilu is. The ilu is, I go to the foot of the tree, the stump, the roots, the bottom, right, of a tree. Thank you for typing so I can look here. Agam niru ukwu osisi maka ọdị nnụnụ mma. Wonderful. Agam niru ukwu osisi mana ọdị nnụnụ mma. Right? I go to the foot of the trees because it is good for the birds. Niru. Udochi, Wanem. Hey, thank you very much. Yes, Agam Niru. I go rising the Kundalini. James O, can you elaborate on that? Hey, Chimoge's comments. Welcome. I wanted to hear you guys' interpretation of this particular ilu. I go to the foot of the tree because it's good for the birds. It's good in the bird's eye. It treats the birds well. The birds do it, right? The birds seem to think it's a good idea. So why wouldn't I go do that? That's what the ilu is saying. So if anybody has an interpretation, I'll take two interpretations before I give my own. But if I don't get any interpretations, because I'm not saying, Out of darkness comes the light. Deep, deep, very deep. Very deep. I like that. I like that. Does this refer to taking care of the tree so it provides shelter for the birds? My best guess. Very good guess. And then I like the out of darkness comes the light. So I'm keeping those two in mind. There's no right or wrong answer for Elu. So I hope you guys aren't asking me because you want to get the right answer, right? There's no right or wrong answer to Elu. The thing is about Elu is that you put Elu down and it brings wisdom out of each person. So different people are going to say it means different things, but all of the things you're saying gives us a 360. If we get 360 people to interpret an Elu, we'll have a 360 view of this particular wisdom, all pointing in the same direction, but all of us being different rays or revealing different rays of the same light, right? So there's no right answer. I have my interpretation. You guys can have yours, but it told me something specific about seasonal depression. May not tell anybody else anything similar. All right, so I'm trying to find a way to lock the comments without accidentally shutting this down again. Feminine energy can be cultivated in order to cultivate masculine. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I think I found it. All chat's visible. Boom, got it. All right, so trees provide food and shelter for birds. Wonderful. Birds are up in the tree, so people should stay below as to not bother them. Very good. I like that. I like that. So like I said, every interpretation of an Elu is correct. If that is sincerely what it is bringing out of you as far as wisdom, then you are revealing something to the rest of us that is provoked, I guess, by the Elu, but entirely your own interpretation, which is good. And they all matter. They all matter. They all exist within you for a reason. So my interpretation of the Elu is slightly different than what's being shared, right? Nature, the Elu to me says that nature is a teacher. Nature is a teacher, and nature never lies. Nature is never incorrect because nature has no vested interest in teaching us. It is just doing what is there. If you carve a bunch of canals on sand, on beach sand, and you pour water on it, and the water follows those canals, then that is where the water is telling you where the divots or the canals exist. The water has no reason to lie to you. The water does not care whether you know it or not. Nature reveals truth. Nature reveals truth because nature operates on a level of truth. There are some particular things about the human being and even some animals and things like that that allow us to deal with deception, right? It's integral to our survival as people. A lot of animals use it as a survival thing, so on and so forth, right? But if you observe nature in its purest form, right, not as a defense mechanism or anything like that, or no ulterior vested motive, you can learn very concrete truths about reality, right? So this individual that said this Elu, the ancestor way back in the day that brought this Elu to everybody and it spread on from that person, saw birds at the bottom of a tree and decided to go to the bottom of a tree and was asked, why are you doing this? And the person said, well, it's good for the birds, then it's good for me, right? What does that mean? So right now, especially if you're in North America, we're undergoing winters. I mean, worldwide, I think except the southern hemisphere, but a lot of the world is undergoing winter right now, right? And if you look at what is happening all throughout nature, every single thing is slowing down, right? The bears are going into caves. Things that burrow are burrowing even deeper and sleeping for a long time. Everything is moving a lot slower. The trees are stopping their growth. They're pausing their growth for the moment, right? They're even shedding what they have. They're shedding old leaves, right? Even the sky is moving a little bit slower. At least it seems to me. I'm not saying based on science or anything like that. Every single thing in nature is slowing down in response to nature, in response to truth. There is something about winter that tells existence to slow down or stop or sleep or rest, right? Let me know if you guys can hear my audio. I just got a notification that might take it away, right? But we as human beings tend to want to see ourselves as something separate from nature, right? And so we have this habit of not paying attention to nature when we start taking action, right? So as everything is slowing down, we are hoping that we can move at the same pace and momentum that we were moving in the summer when everything was very animated, right? Very alive, right? We might have certain relationships that are very passionate in the spring, and then in the winter and in the summer, this not doesn't feel the same, and we become angry at that dissonance, right? We become angry at that dissonance, either blaming it on something external or blaming it on ourselves, right? So right now, whatever your body was producing in the summer, whatever your body was producing to survive and live in the summer, your body is not doing that anymore. Your environment is not doing that anymore. You're not getting as much sunlight, right? With the sun being an animating force in creation, you're not getting that thing, you're not seeing as much of it anymore, right? But you still have the same expectations of yourself. You're still putting the same pressure on yourself, and you're becoming angrier at yourself or sadder at and towards yourself because you don't feel the same. And in the West, we call it seasonal depression, seasonal. I mean, they have different terms for it: seasonal this, seasonal that, so on and so forth, right? There are different names for it. But in this season, people feel a certain change. Their emotions are an entirely different thing, and they're becoming a being of the winter, but having the expectations of a being of the summer and of the spring, right? Because we wish to believe that we are something separate from nature, right? But if slowing down is good for the bears, and slowing down is good for the birds, and slowing down is good for the trees, and isolating a little bit more is good for the sun, and all of these things are good for me, why wouldn't they be, right? Seasonal affective disorder, thank you, or seasonal depression, very good, very good, very good, very good, right? You're not an entirely separate thing from creation. And when creation shows you where the canals are dug, right, you have no reason but to follow. The Ilu itself is speaking to the fact that a person had faith in the goodness of something because that person saw what it did for, or how nature regarded that thing, right? How nature regarded that thing. That bird eats animals like me, it drinks water like me, it breathes air like me. And if sitting at the corner of that tree is good for it, then it is also good for me because I'm not entirely different from that bird, right? I'm not entirely different from that bird. So when you set expectations for yourself, when you set expectations for how you should feel, which I personally don't think people should do, pay attention to what is happening in nature. All of these things are speaking to us in real time, right? All of these things are speaking to us in real time. Oftentimes, we think words have to be communicated in order for something to be called communication or be regarded as communication. But we as human beings even say actions speak louder than words, right? It's crazy how in American society, the slowest time in nature is our busiest shopping season, our busiest economic whatever season. I mean, everybody is running around, right? Everybody's running around at this particular time when we're supposed to be hibernating, right? We're supposed to be hibernating. We are big ass mammals. And all big ass mammals right now, when it gets cold, calms down. They calm down. They retreat. They calculate. They rest. They don't sprint. They don't run. They don't plan. They don't execute. Right? And I'm not saying maybe leave your goals to the wayside or drop everything you're doing, but maybe operate from a different energy. Right? Maybe you are operating, it's easier to operate from the Ikenga energy when the sun is abundant. Because there's a direct link between the Ikenga, right? Your physical and spiritual ability to do, your animating force, right? The thing we call physical, I guess, sentience, your life force, Ikenga, right? This old term was like maybe vital energy, something close to that, right? I got a video on Ikenga. It's hard to translate these things one to one, but that particular energy is energized by the sun. It is well understood by our ancestors that it is directly connected to the sun. That the sun and the Ikenga connect, and they awaken, or the sun connects to the Ikenga and awakens the Ikenga, right? So if you are operating in your Ikenga, which is fine, right, is a gift. And in fact, the Ikenga is referred to as the gift of the chi, is what your chi gives you. If your chi sent you to do XYZ or be XYZ, your Ikenga is what it gives you in order for you to do that thing, right? If I send you to the store, hey, I need you to go get me milk, the Ikenga is the money I put in your hand to be able to do that thing, right? And maybe the car keys. That's the Ikenga, right? Yeah, I need you to go over there and do this and that for me. Take this and take this, go. So long as you have these things, you will be able to do it. That's your Ikenga, right? And that thing is very closely linked to the sun. It is activated by the sun, right? So if you're getting less sunlight, you do have other energies that you can use to or appeal to get things done. And they may not be physical motion. They may not be energy. They might not be energy dependent, right? Those types of things. You understand? There is another energy known as your omumu. This is your feminine energy, right? It is a creative manifesting energy. It is a still energy. It doesn't move. It just brings things into existence. It is from stillness, it brings things to existence, as the Ikenga brings things into existence from action and movement, right? Please, nobody think one's better than the other, right? Whichever one, I don't want people doing this ranking thing we always have to do, is, this one I'm gonna do, this one's better. No, they're both, it's like your right and left hand, right? Your right and left hand. It's your right and left hand. You understand? So learning how to operate in that particular energy, to get things done from a position of stillness, right? To keep things going from a position of stillness. And also having faith in the fact that things will be done as they are supposed to be done. And it doesn't always need your physical power and will to be done, right? And that is what I got from this particular Ilu. That is what I personally got from this Ilu, but no interpretation is wrong, right? Again, the Ilu is, and I'll try to read it again. Where are we at? There we go. All right. Agam uku osisi mana. Ode nunuma. Agam uku osisi mana. Ode nunuma. I go to the foot of the tree because it is good for the birds, right? I go to the foot of the tree because it is good for the birds. It's very interesting too, because we tend to think we know more than ancient people, right? We tend to think we know more than ancient people, but knowing is the observation of patterns. And every single pattern that we can observe in our head or we can come up with in our head already exists outside of our head. And one of the things that ancient people were able to understand is that I don't necessarily have to know something. I just have to look, right? There's another Ilu that says, a smith who doesn't know how to make an ogene. An ogene is a two-prong drum, right? Or two-prong bell, two-bell drum. I don't know how you explain it, right? A smith who doesn't know how to make an ogene should watch the tail of the hawk, right? Should look at the tail of the hawk. So the blueprint for building an ogene is in the tail of the hawk. A good friend of mine sent me a video, or not a video, but a picture, and it's an eagle diving. It's an eagle diving down to catch fish, right? This eagle was shaped exactly like a US stealth bomber, right? Just spot on. Exactly like when he's doing US stealth bomber when they're diving down to get fish, because somebody was smart enough to say, okay, I'm trying to break this and that sound barrier and this and that speed, and I'm trying to do something that eagles already do. Why don't I just build a big ass eagle, right? Why don't I just build a big eagle and see how that goes? That kind of thing. And voila, they did it, right? So this is something that ancient people applied regularly, regularly. One of the deceptions that I think we live under in the modern world is this idea that wisdom or intelligence is something that we that is inside of us but doesn't exist outside of us, right? That kind of thing. That is inside of us but doesn't exist outside of us, and that we have to show our intelligence by doing XYZ and accumulate it by entering this door and that door and learning this and that and getting this certification and that certification, that kind of thing, right? But whatever we think we can ever concoct in our head is already happening. All the patterns that we can come up with in our head, all the ideas we can come up in our head are already happening in nature. So that when you look to solve a problem, if you want to solve a problem, if you want to understand a problem, if you want to bring or enhance an idea you already have, look for where it already exists in nature and what nature has to say about this particular inspiration you have. Because oftentimes, that exact same pattern you're looking for is right in front of you. It's right there, right in front of you. And this is how Odinani kind of shifted my own thinking. This is how it shifted my own thinking, right? And helped me start understanding things a little bit better, right? I was thinking the other day, like I used to be under the impression that, or how do I put it this way? I was trying to understand plant medicine, right? And I thought it was a matter of knowing, oh, this plant does that, this plant does this, and maybe it is, right? Maybe it is, because a lot of people, it's an accumulation of wisdom. People already know this plant does that, so why are you arguing, right? But one shortcut that Odinani helped me reach was the fact that plants oftentimes pull from the soil what they need to survive. So if there's some plants where you'll eat it and it has arsenic, right? But that arsenic didn't just come out of the tree. It was not 100% synthesized in the tree. It was the plant's roots sought it out and said, I need some of this. Let me get that. Let me get that. Let me get that. That kind of thing, right? So that you know that, okay, this particular plant needs arsenic in the soil to survive. This particular plant is also a source of poison, so on and so forth. And then that being said, I started understanding, okay, well, if that's how plants operate, then changes in the soil, if the plant is able to survive, which, that kind of thing, would also change the health or the trajectory of what the plant has to offer, right? Would I change? A good friend of mine even made this point about how our ancestors would bury the placenta of a child and plant a tree within it, like plants. I can't talk. Plant a tree within it, right? So that kind of thing, and almost in a way graft yourself into that tree. Well, then you think about, okay, if it's pulling arsenic from this soil because maybe it needs arsenic to survive this particular bacteria that's in this environment, right? Or if you test every single tree and plant in this environment and you see that it has this particular element, right? This particular element. You have to ask yourself, why did they all pull this element in this particular environment? And then maybe there's a disease going on in that place. And then, okay, what if this disease is what if these trees are doing this to fight this thing? And then you cross-check it and you cross-check it. 9 out of 10 times, right? I've gotten into reading how people came up with things. 9 out of 10 times, it's what it is, right? The tree is faced with a problem that you're going to be faced with too in that environment. And it said, okay, I need this mineral and this mineral and this mineral in order to fortify me from this particular ailment, this particular virus, this particular disease, to block them off, right? And then, wow. That's just how my own thinking started going as far as that goes. I'm not a botanist. I could be dead wrong, Nature is the real genius. Ifai, 100%. Nature is the real genius. Nature is the real genius. You said it. Euro-colonial society teaches that wisdom can only come from a really big brain, which I think is a little silly. Right. Right. Yeah. Just a big ass brain. Yeah. Just having more fatty tissue in your brain. That's what makes someone smart. Um, yeah, the idea of smart is goofy. Everything's slowing down except Kanye West. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. King Gold says Kedu Kedu Nwanne Kedu Nwanne. Yeah, no, Kanye West is still fully Kenga. Even the cold is just a slowing down of atoms. Snapple and cats. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. So this is on a molecular level, right? I think a lot of the depression is from the cognitive dissonance that you're thinking everything is mind and will, and then the rest of you saying no, it's not. I'm going to sleep. You do what you want to do, brain. Oh, I'm waking up late. Oh, I just feel down. I didn't drink more coffee. That kind of thing. That kind of thing. The cognitive dissonance between it's you realizing you're not 100% in control. That's the depressing part about it. Trees are rooted to Mother Earth. He said, take care of the animals around you. It's my experience. Okay, I think I'm all caught up, right? Aha, you fine. Yes. Uzuamagi akpo gene. Nebe anya no do. Odema. Yes. The smith who does not know how to craft an ogene should look at the tail of the hawk. Odema. Trees also practice Ubantu. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Trees also practice Ubantu 100%. 100%. Right? Very good. Very good. Awesome. We also bury the navel string of infants under certain trees in the Caribbean. We're the same people. I don't know. we're the same people. There's a level of understanding that you reach where it just that like a lot of things become arbitrary, right? If you take an Igbo person to Jamaica, that person, I mean, they're gonna do that thing. You take them to North Carolina, they're going to do the same thing. Canada, they're going to do the thing over and over and over. And a lot of these things are not coming from belief, right? A lot of these things are not coming because somebody says, "Hey, I think this is my manifesto. This is what we should." They observed something, and in observation of that thing, they do the next thing, right? In observation of that thing, they do the next thing. Now, in today's language, we can say placentas have a lot of stem cells, right? Maybe that has something to do with that thing. Maybe we're grafting something special. Because when medicines are formed, they'll often return to your tree of life and take what the tree has dropped and apply it to the medicine. All right? There's a thing we do back home. We don't do it anymore. Uh, but they used to do this thing where you take a bowl of water, a still bowl of water, and you put it at the corner of your house. And you would just let that water be year round. You wouldn't touch it. Just whatever elements it goes through the elements. And then when a baby is born, by the way, don't do this. I don't want somebody to you know what I mean? Oh, the guy on the medicine show told just don't do anything that's gonna get me arrested if you like this shit. If you like this channel, right? So this ancient African custom where they would they would fill the bowl of water, and then they would and like when a child was born, the child would drink that nasty ass water, right? Would drink the nasty ass water and cry and all that stuff. Now, why infant? Why would they do this? Because whatever the environment has to offer as far as bacteria, virus, yada yada yada, you are immunizing that child by having them drink it, and they then become one with the environment, right? So that whatever this environment has, their body starts developing the immunity from it. And when a guest from another land comes into your land, you stop them at the border and you wash their feet. You wash their feet so that the dirt, which carries all of those things that are in their land but not in your land, is no longer on their feet. And you bring them into your land, allowing them to touch their feet on the soil and acclimatize with you without bringing whatever they're trailing from their own place, right? I remember when the Europeans went and people were washing their feet, they're like, oh, they think we're gods, They think we're gods. Yeah, they draw a little picture of the African guy washing their feet. They do that for everybody, right? That kind of thing. And then the tree at the same time is in that same soil, right? is in that same soil, and it is detecting the same things that affect bacteria, viruses, XYZ also affect trees. But the tree has the roots of the tree has the ability to say, okay, I need this, and that, and now I'm going to become the medicine that prevents these things. And when your own natural body can't do it, you go to the tree for a little bit of help because the tree knows exactly what it needs to survive this particular ailment, right? So in Odinani, when they say oneness with nature, it's not purely like, there's I think in the West, there's this idea that spirituality is something like separate from like physical life, the physical world, right? It's this thing where you go in a cave and you go on and you become ascendant, right, or whatever, right? But Africans, right? I don't want to say Igbo people. Africans don't see it that way. It's all one and the same thing. So oneness with nature is a very literal thing, right? It's a spiritual oneness with nature, is a physical oneness with nature. So that when things are happening in nature physically, right, you do not see yourself as separate from those happenings, right? There's an ilu, I can't remember the exact words, but it says something along the lines of like, basically, if you see a frog running in the evening, you too should run, right? Or is it afternoon. If you see a frog running in the afternoon, you too should run, because frogs don't run in the afternoon according to the ancestors, right? And if this frog is running, whatever the hell is making it break its own natural cycle, it should make you break your own, and you should run with it, that kind of thing, right? From this, you begin to understand, like I was saying about ancient people, this idea that we know more than them. I think that we've taken like a different route to reaching a lot of the same conclusions, but I don't think we're necessarily that different. I think that a lot of things we know they knew too because they're obvious in nature. I always read this thing about when agriculture started, which is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. Any human being, right? Any chimpanzee that has ever seen something sprout out of a seed that it likes to eat knows agriculture from beginning to end. Anything that has seen something grow out of something. So why would we exist for millions of years and then the last maybe 5,000 or so, which last 5,000 when somebody came out of the caucus, no, I'm just kidding. But after the last 5,000 years, so we finally figure out, oh, if you put things in the ground, it grows. No, we've known this. We've known this since we were bonobos, right, or whatever the hell we came from. We've known this since, because you can see it every single day in nature. If you go outside often, you're going to see a tree, something come, or a seed, and something come out of that seed. So I don't believe that agriculture started 5,000, 6,000, I think maybe 10,000 years ago. I think it goes way further back than that, right? Way further, because we understand, it's a natural understanding. Things come out of trees that feed you, or seeds that feed you, that kind of thing. So I think that a lot of times we take these roundabout ways of understanding things, and then we think ancient people didn't understand those things because they don't use the methods we use. Their methods consistently go in line with watching nature and then mimicking, watching nature, mimicking, watching nature, mimicking, right? And that's it, y'all. I don't know if you guys have any questions. The chat went away. All messages visible. Let me see if anybody got questions. All right. Ancient people are far smarter than us. All right. I don't know if they're smarter, less separated from their own environment. I think less separated is a very good one. We introduced immunization to the West. Yes, we did. It's an actual vaccine. Actual. I feel you, James. Don't do anything that's gonna get me arrested. Yeah, you said. Yeah, man. So I don't know. There are things I want to share, but if I said it, somebody's gonna do something. Somebody's gonna do something just off the chain. So, but there are things. Depression is a very simplistic term used to explain away a lot of different things in my house. Category, yes, as a category, it's very broad, it's very lazy. I think in the next 10 years, we're not going to use that word anymore. We're going to have more nuanced understanding of that thing, because it's just very broad and lazy. It doesn't mean anything, that kind of thing. All right, y'all. We are out. As always, uno gade. Wait, before I do that, if you are interested in supporting the Medicine Shell and interested in learning with us by joining our Patreon community, or you can join our Patreon community at patreon.com/themedicineshell. I don't know why I don't ever have the damn account up so I can type the link. Give me just a second, y'all. Hold on. Hold up. There. All right, so you can support the Medicine Shell at patreon.com/the medicine shell. Patrons have access to my full Odinani library. So this is what I read when I want to do my research and learn more about our ancestors and Odinani Ndibo and our ancient sciences, right? And this covers Igbo culture. I have documents that go into Ifa, Hoodoo, Santeria, so on and so forth, right? So it's a lot in there. I think we're at like almost 400 documents. But then I have a recommended folder if it's too much. So like if you want to learn step by step, I have like a reading list. Like do this one first. It's the easiest, simplest, and then go, that kind of thing. Right? So that is available at patreon.com/medicine-shell, as well as the calendar. So if you want to know what moon we're under, and then what market day that we're under, you can check that at patreon.com/themedicine-shell. Do you have stuff on Ube? Yes, I have a document on Ube. I think I have like 2 or 3 on Ube. It's in the diaspora folder. So Lectin, if you're a patron, message me. I'll send you the link. Right? And I'm the librarian for the Patreon. So patrons, if you're looking for something, just message me. I'll find you. I'll find the essential link. Okay. How do I access the previously recorded discussions? So accessing previously recorded, good question. If you want to access the previously recorded discussions, you have to be on the Is It tier. That is an Is It tier privilege. And they're now available on the Patreon itself. So when you're at the Is It tier, a whole bunch of new videos are going to start popping up. And like, oh, I didn't see these posts. You weren't supposed to see them, right? So if you're on the Is It tier, they pop up immediately on the Patreon. Patreon just got that feature a few months ago, and I jumped on it immediately. Ancestor veneration is giving honor. Honor is not worship of idols. Don't let them fool you. King Gold, he said. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, everybody wants to come out of their little cult and start telling everybody that this is worship, that's worship. You're worshiping this, you're worshiping. No, that's y'all. You do that. You go do that over there, right? We are acknowledging the things that give us life, the things that make everything that we're dealing with possible, all right? Our ancestors make these things possible. The trees make this possible. The earth makes this possible. The water makes this possible. The sun makes this possible. So of course it's going to get my respect, my veneration. You know, I'm going to greet these great elements, these great things, these great people, because all of these things are part and parcel of my creation. And I am grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful to be a part of creation. So I am grateful for these things, right? If I give you something, you tell me thank you, okay, then I'm going to also thank this river every time I take a drink. And that thank you is not worship the way you're not worshiping me, right? Y'all go do that in your little cult. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. And also, if you're trying to learn Igbo, I have an Igbo language school at www.kedu.me, which I have to hurry up and get to. www.kedu.me. We are currently enrolling for the March, the class that starts in March. Our March session seems to always be our busiest. So like if you want like a whole lot of people like moving in the journey with you and to be learning with like a strong team of other people that are kind of at your level, I think March is a great time to sign up. That being said, guys, uno gadi, uno geto, nkobla no tiriaka, ogade no wa, ogade no neke, no rie, na fo, na nkwo, ise. Take care, y'all.